Seema Sunil of City Pride School.
Can I get a help, please? Okay, sir.
We are not going online. We are not going online. Just a minute, I'll just ask. वहाँ पे चल रहा है जो यहाँ पे नहीं चल रहा.
Where do we keep this? Yeah. Hopefully. I like it. Hello.
Recording everything and then they will upload on YouTube.
Okay.
They will record everything and they will upload on.
Can we start? Okay, greetings to all of you. We are going to present the paper on hands-on geometry, unlocking the concepts through GeoBoard. Now, for many maths learners, it's like a puzzle, all in pieces, lines, angles, theorems, all in the air. There's nothing concrete to hold on to. So we at City Pride School, Nigdi, asked ourselves, how can we make maths more visible, tangible, and engaging? The answer to this came to us through computational thinking and a GeoBoard, a simple tool which changed our classroom experience. Now, in maths, geometry is an abstract part of mathematics. Students struggle to visualize the geometrical shapes, fail to connect the new ideas with old concepts, and also the traditional chalk talk method has become monotonous. So now, in order to overcome all this, we thought of an idea wherein we introduced the GeoBoard to learn geometry through computational skills to make the abstract ideas visible. So through activities, she will be demonstrating it.
Actually, we introduced geometry, when we introduced geometry lines and angles chapter, and we came up with the idea of using GeoBoard with our children. So this is GeoBoard, and we asked the children to find out the exact key point or key peg, we can call these points as, and find out the proper key peg and place the elastic bands and form the two intersecting lines. So they framed the two intersecting lines. They were confused like what the teacher is trying to say. And we asked them, take your protractor and measure. Can you see how many angles in that? We asked that first. They said 4. Okay, so measure all those 4 angles. They measured it and we told them to jot it down. So then they said that like, ma'am, we found something. Okay, so what is it? Then they were surprised to say that like, ma'am, 2 sets of angles are equal. And they said very precisely, the opposite angles are equal, ma'am. Then the theorem comes, when the two intersecting lines meet each other, we get 4 angles over there, and in that vertically opposite angles are equal. So here they discovered themselves the opposite angles are equal instead of learning themselves that like simply rote learning में बोल रहे हैं like vertically opposite angles are equal. And then after this topic, we introduced parallel lines and transversal concept to them. Okay, when we asked them, because parallel lines, any two lines cannot be parallel. So we asked them to find out the proper key points where they can exactly form the parallel lines. So they found the key points and they formed the parallel lines using elastic band, and we told them to construct a transversal over there. And we asked, how many angles you can see over there? They said that like, ma'am, we can see four inside the parallel lines and 4 outside the parallel lines. So totally 8 angles we can see here. So we asked them, okay, you are going to take the protractor and measure all the 4 interior angles which are inside the 2 parallel lines. So this is the first parallel line. These are the parallel lines, and here you are getting 4 angles over here. They measured using protractor again. So when they measured, they came to know that like here also a magic happened. They said that like, ma'am, 2 sets of angles are equal again. And they said again, they are not, we asked that like, are they the closer one, nearby one? Okay, no. They said that like they are alternate angles. So here they came to the conclusion that like alternate angles are equal. Then we said yes, the alternate interior angles are equal. So here in the same way, we explained corresponding angles are equal, co-interior angles are supplementary, and co-exterior angles are supplementary, and corresponding angles are equal. These all the children came up themselves. We did not utter any word. They measured the angles. They said that like these angles are equal. And one more thing, they can visualize also. By visualizing method also we taught what is alternate interior angles by looking at the Z shape. We taught them because they by hands-on they did it and they recognized alternate interior angles are in the Z shape and corresponding angles are in the F shape. So this way the children never confused with alternate interior angles and corresponding angles. After this, we introduced the next topic that is really a bit confusing to the children. Okay, when we introduced the triangle chapter, okay, the children formed the triangle and we instructed children to form the parallel lines, and we asked them, they said that like the parallel line is touching the other 2 sides and it is dividing the other 2 sides, and we asked them measure it using scale. So and we they measured and they got a measurement, and we asked them find the ratio of those 2 parts. Okay, here you are getting 2 parts and here you are getting 2 parts, find the measurement of it. So when they found, they really surprised by seeing that the ratio, what they found it, they are equal. Then we said it is basic proportionality theorem.
Now coming to the topic of circles, we saw that on the other side of the geoboard we can form a circle, and 2 points on the circle can be taken and joined to the center, and then forming a central angle, and any point on the circumference can also be joined using the same elastic band to form inscribed angle. And the students were then asked to measure using protractors, and they measured and they found that the central angle is always double the angle on the circumference. And a corollary to this is that there is a diameter which forms 180 degree, and any angle on the semicircle will always be 90 degree. So the students could themselves come to this conclusion. Then on the same circle, using the elastic bands, they could take 2 points and then form 2 angles on the same side of the segment. And measuring the angles on the same side of the segment, they could come to the conclusion that angles in the same segment are always equal. So the students reached to these conclusions themselves.
Now, where is the decomposition? I haven't. Where is the decomposition here? The students had to visualize the geometrical shapes. They were asked to locate the key points on the geoboard. Then the correct elastic bands were positioned on the geoboard. Now the algorithmic thinking here. Now we had to identify, the students had to identify the peg points. These are all the peg points. You can see in this another example where the opposite angles are supplementary of a cyclic quadrilateral. They were asked to measure the angles after making this, and they concluded that the opposite angles are supplementary. So they had to identify where the key peg points are, and then after that to measure, they used scale and a protractor as per the requirement of the question to conclude that the opposite angles are supplementary. So what we concluded is geometry can be taught in a better way using geoboard, using computational thinking, as it enhances the engagement, the understanding, spatial reasoning, and also it enhances the joy of discovery of the theorem. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any questions?
Any questions?
So basically these are the reinforcement activities, we can use this. But measurement, while going for the measurement, you showed in the picture like 10 centimeter, 9.5 centimeter. That and all in the geoboard is not possible, no?
We use a scale, ma'am.
So
use the scale.
basically you need to teach about the centimeters also in that sector. Are you used to measure the centimeters in that while the rubber bands keep like in quadrilateral shape or in square, in a triangle or anything. The measurement you used to teach in the using of scale to put the.
See,
like,
ma'am,
Look
this.
at that quadrilateral. In the quadrilateral there isn't 4 corners. Is there,
Yes.
no? So they want to measure the. First you say about angles. is okay.
Using the protractor, they
The
find it.
protractor for opposite angles are supplementary.
Okay, angles is better.
Yeah.
You talk about the line, like measurement of the lines also. It is different than the sum, no?
Huh.
If you are going
That
to
is
teach
for the
Triangle.
BPT
Triangle.
theorem.
Basic
So
proportionality.
so what is happening is, in case of BPT that we showed, can we have the geoboard please? Here we are talking about the measurement of sides, the proportionality of the sides.
Okay.
So here
Then
we will
it is
require
like
measurement.
proportion is better. Okay, I'm asking about that. If you are the children's is not there isn't so many categories in the children's. They're not used in the proper same diagram. They can't use in the same thing. They use in the different triangles or in different size
Yep.
also. In that also we can teach about the proportions and all in that, like a reinforcement activity before the things. But the measurement we can't do it in a proper way on that. I'm asking about the measurement, like 9 centimeter or 4 centimeter, that and all you make sure on that.
Yes, using scale we measured, and more approximate maybe 0.1 centimeter here and there. It may differ, but most approximately it comes. We get the proper ratio when we measure it. You can try, ma'am.
And also we started with grade 9. This concept.
is-
Of course, we can use it for the lower classes also, because we found out that various other things, even the transformations, can be taught on this. That is your reflection image,
Congruence of triangles.
mirror
even,
image, everything can be taught. But we experimented with grade 9 students basically. So that's how it came up. Any other questions? Yes.
Did you teach the concept using this, or was it a reinforcement?
We introduced the concept using
The
this.
geoboard.
So only the introduction was done, and later on.
Theorems, all the theorems we taught using this.
Okay, so, that's what I was.
It was a hands-on activity wherein we gave this, as we said there, in a group of 4. We asked them to do the measurement, note it down, and ask them to compare what was the relation. So then they concluded.
And how much time you took for all these things? How many classes?
See, we have, as it is, a time allotted for activities. So we just put it in that slot.
And
Ma'am, you told now 9th and 10th standard. If Pythagoras theorem, other theorems are there, you can use this one for theorem also.
Ah, yes,
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 ma'am,
we can.
use.
Yes, ma'am.
Because 9th standard and 10th standard theorems are all are theorems in geometry.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
9th standard circle theorem, all the circle theorems we taught through this.
Circle theorem, Pythagoras
Yes.
theorem also you will
Yes, yes, yes. That's what, after we started with grade 9, when we just explored, we found out that it could be even brought down to lower grades, and many other things could be taught using this geoboard. We found out that.
I see the introduction of concepts using these and measurement, and so students get an experience of these. But how do you generalize from that? Because very often there is a problem. that students are limited by the ideas like measurement on these. I mean, the theorems have nothing to do with measurement, right?
No.
Theorems say they are equal, and like when we ask students how far apart can two parallel lines be, very often their idea is that it's about this much.
This much.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about two parallel lines 1 kilometer apart, it's very difficult to visualize. But in geometry, you want them to think of these things as arbitrary shapes. Right?
Yes.
I mean, so how do you get to the generalization part? That because the theorems have no reference
Connection
to
with
size
that.
of any of these things, right? So this is one problem that usually comes. So that's why I want.
Actually, first they should understand the concept of parallel line, right, sir? For the really, when we introduce a topic, parallel line topic to the child, instead of real life, first they should understand the concept. What is parallel line? What is parallel line? The distance between the two lines are going to be equal wherever the point you take on those two lines, right? So that is the concept of parallel line. So once the child understands the distance of any two lines, okay, between the two lines are equal, it is going to be a parallel line.
No,
Whether
if
it is
you
closer,
try to give a cyclic quadrilateral
yeah,
of side 1 kilometer, to try give a problem
cyclic
like
quadrilateral ka.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
then you will see the problem of what I'm saying. So it's
Okay.
not so much to do with the
Okay.
fact. The thing is somewhere you have to understand the concept as it is in geometry, right? Geometry doesn't care how large the circle is or how large.
How large, yeah. True.
So I'm just saying, there's no easy answer. I'm just wondering.
We are just actually going from specifics to general. So we are just showing for a smaller part here, and then we are generalizing it to any parallel lines. So that is how we are trying to inculcate the theorems or concepts in them.
And honestly, we started with the grade 9 has got a complete full book on geometry. So we were finding it very difficult how to make these abstract, as you said, things a little more visible so that they can touch, they can understand, and many of them are visual learners. So we started with that. So we just started with grade 9 wherein theorems could be taught. They are unable to connect it. So we have just started with that. Of course, if definitely possible, as you said, we will be exploring more on that. Because as and when we were just into this abstract and the presentation, we had good discoveries. We did have a lot of insights, and we understood that it could be again exploited and used to lower grades as well. So definitely we'll
See that, sir.
think of it and explain.
Also, teachers, when you say the distance between the two parallel lines anywhere is same, we are specifically talking about the perpendicular.
Perpendicular,
distance.
yes,
Perpendicular
yes,
distance.
Yes, ma'am.
Shortest distance.
The shortest distance. Correct. True, ma'am.
Distance between the lines, when we always call the perpendicular line as the distance, right, ma'am? We don't take the slanting one as a distance.
Certain
So,
things are not
Ma'am, the
really understood.
theorem is there, no? Distance. Yes. I agree with you. Yes, and we also have
There
that
is a
very
shortest distance.
exactly,
Yes.
and we have a corollary.
When we will say perpendicular, there is a compulsory
Exactly.
shortest
Yes,
distance.
yes. So we actually teach that first. When you draw a line and point outside, when you talk about distance, it's not distance can be many things, but we talk about the perpendicular distance, which is drawn from the point to the line. So we always tell that first.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anything further can we discuss after this? Because we have 4 more presentations to come on. Will that be okay for you? Fine, thanks.
Sorry.
circle will be
Yeah, don't mute
only
it.
the shapes having curved lines.
Mute it.
And in the middle where these circles are intersecting, there you can tell me the shapes which are having both straight and curved lines. So they only told I started drawing this for them. Then next activity. Here there I was drawing. Here I made children draw the English alphabets in the same Venn diagram. Write only the alphabets having straight lines in the left side. Write only the alphabets which are having curved lines on the right side. And in the middle, write the alphabets having both straight and curved lines. Here their concept got more clear. So they only took part. We started with A, B and went on till Z. Next slide please. Here one more funful activity I took. I made group of children in 4 to 5 groups. Then I asked them, took them down in the streets. I told them initially explain this activity. We are going to make a rangoli. I will put the dots for you. One group was told, one or two groups were told to draw rangoli using only curved lines. First, they were told to make a plan on in their rough notebook. They discuss among yourself who will do that plan in the rough book and who will apply it actually on the floor. And some groups were told draw rangoli using only curved lines, and one group was told to draw rangoli using both the lines. Next slide. Here I gave them dots, simple dots 4 by 4, and they were struggling. They were first tried with the ruler also to draw the rangoli straight line. So because they enjoyed a lot, they got experience of hands-on activities. Next slide. Here, these sort of rangolis I got, which they were also happy to show me. Next, for home activity, I gave them assignment to draw rangolis. One rangoli using only straight lines, second rangoli using both straight and curved lines, and another rangoli using only curved lines for their better understanding of this concept. These are the assignments I got from them. This is it. Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am, it's a very wonderful idea. So, one question I have, like, apart from, okay, so this Venn diagram, I think, like, at that point of time, they might have, like, very good idea about straight line and curved line. So, what extra this Rangoli is giving mathematically? Of course, it will lead to
It is just inclusive teaching with the art, and I also did the same thing with the PE also. I asked them which asan has straight lines and which asan in the Surya Namaskar is having curved lines. So they told me Bhujangasan has that curved line. So just to be inclusive for other subjects, I did those activities.
Oh, very beautiful. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much.
I'd like to call Bhavna Pant Barai from St. Mary's School, Pune.
I'm more comfortable with the mic.
Would you like to have column mic?
I would have it. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bhavna Panditorai, and I teach middle school, St. Mary's School. I love teaching maths. It's almost 10 to 12 years I'm teaching maths in different, not only in Pune, in other parts of the country, as my husband is transferable job, and that is how I come across now in Pune and teaching in St. Mary's for last 8 years in the middle section. So earlier I used to take 10th and 11th, but now I'm finding teaching 11th and 12th is not, it's my personal opinion, it's not that important to teach these lower classes to have the understanding and plus to imagine the mathematics along with the teacher. So doing mathematics is not that, important. Imagining mathematics is more important, is what I feel, and this is how my presentation is going to be there. This is
all about me. And this is my school, St. Mary's School I'm representing. It's one of the oldest renowned school in Pune. Board is ICSE and ISC. And the teachers over there, we follow medal maths, mostly daily, hands-on approach for many things. Even there are many videos in ISET Pune conducted by the activity where I have used some of the hands-on activity to perform some topics in mathematics, critical thinking approach, SDG, that's very important, sustainable development goals. How do we inculcate that with our teaching is also one of the primary area where we focus on, and periodic mathematical quizzes we conduct in this school. Now coming straight away to my project, my activity, my mentor is sitting here. Some months back, I have attended one of the workshop in Mumbai, and there I happened to come across this computational thinking. Till then, for me, computational, critical, and all those thinking was seen. There I attended the workshop and I realized that computational thinking is more about pattern recognition and using that pattern moving on to goes to certain or to touch certain level. So I learned about computational thinking in that and then try to apply that so that that becomes easy for the class or the middle school. And I came across this Tower of Brahma, also known as Tower of Hanoi. So, but we Indians call it proudly Tower of Brahma, and that is how computational thinking was introduced in my classes in my school. So, basically, what I did is I divided my class into small groups, and I allowed them to play with 3 discs. Just hold on with this slide. I'll come back to this later. So we started with small groups in the school, and I gave them a Tower of Brahma online game, and we started with 3 discs. So what happened is, first time when they have started, they were just going abruptly anywhere. And while the first group was playing, second group was understanding where are they making a mistake and how are they supposed to go about it. And that is how it's connected with the 4 major aspects of computational thinking. So first is decomposition, where we further break down a bigger problem into smaller steps to get the final conclusion of the problem. In the first step, the students have learned to reach to the nth step by further decomposing them into smaller n-1 step. So with each step they were learning how are they going to complete the game. Then comes the second thing is pattern recognition, and that to my knowledge I believe is the most important part of having computational thinking in the approach. How to go in a certain pattern to reach to the conclusion. Third is abstraction. That is trying to reach a way to calculate the number of moves for any number of discs. Here, this is the most interesting part of the activity, where I started with 3, I took them to 5, and then I left them open. So with 3, they have learned, with 5, they have played, and with 7, they have imagined. Okay, this is how I would be able to complete my game. Okay, in this step, I will reach to this particular step. So that was their abstraction, and then comes the algorithmic thinking, that is using the pattern recognized to imagine an algorithm that solve the puzzle for a higher number of discs. And this is how my class enjoyed doing this activity. It's the first day where they were just introduced that we are going to start with something different today in a math class. They were excited, what is that? So we played Tower of Brahma with 3 discs. And they were divided into 3 groups. One group, small groups, one group went. And then it was like, first group was clueless. But second, third, fourth, fifth, and by the end of the time when I reached the last group, they were having all the idea, and they were, I believe, the fastest to shift those 3 discs from one rod to the last rod. This is how we have played. So they were sitting in a row wise. They were suggesting which steps need to be taken, and the other groups of the other girls of the group, if they're finding that no, it's not right, they were like kind of interrupting, because now when it becomes competition, they were very eager to have the minimum number of steps from one direction to reach to the other direction. So after we have played in the school, as I told, that then they were open free, and that is how they have played with 7, they have played with 9, they have played with 11, and that this kind of a recognition when they got so excited that I got all these results in my team's chat about Miss, we have concluded this much, we have gone this much far, see I've done it the minimum number of steps and so on. Now what I observed while conducting this activity, the first class of introducing the activity, about 20% of the students were able to grasp the concept. So they have understood what they are doing, but some kind of to generate that understanding for more number of discs. That was not with everyone. It was just some 20% have understood. Once they went back home, and when they left open to visualize, perform, play, and all that, then they realized that it is one pattern that we are following, and if we are going other than that pattern, it's not easy to reach, because anyhow I have to come back to the same pattern to reach to the destination. The next day when this activity was, next day means next time when this activity was taken in the class, it went off very quickly with them. Then comes kind of assessment time, like how much my class have understood. So I gave them few questions, like what happened when you have, instead of 3 rods, if you have 4 rods, or where have you reached in the 10th step of your game. So some of the questions, and I also told them, like, what do you think after doing this activity, what generation in your mind, how your thinking process has changed. So some of the students have come up with very beautiful presentations, their understanding and what they have realized while playing the game in the physical mode. I have got few more beautifully the work done by them, how they have played, how they have imagined, and how it should go. And with 4 discs also, though we are still struggling to get the answer, I have not given them, and we are still thinking about what could be the answer. But my students are still working on, like, how if it is more than number of 3 rods are there in Tower of Brahma, or what particular step they can be, once. So physical mode is over, playing game is over. Now mentally we are working. So what do you think in 7, if you have a 7 ring, which step you will be in, which ring will be in which rod in the 10th step, or something like that. So it's becoming more and more engaging. It's becoming more and more computational thinking based, and I'm finding a big change in the understanding of a medium, of a good learner, and even of a slow learner understanding about the concept. Thank you so much. This is from my side. Any question?
Thank you very much. Shall we move on to the second question?
So, how would they argue that there's the minimum number of moves? No, it's okay. Yeah?
May I ask?
Yeah.
Please repeat the question.
Yeah. So, even with the 3 discs, I can see that they can get to the minimum, but how do they know it's the minimum number of moves, or how do they argue about that?
Thank you so much. So when we play in a physical mode, that time teacher needs to teach all that. This is. But when they are playing in the computer, it was coming. This is the minimum number of moves are coming in front of them. So they played once, it could not happen. They played second time, it could not happen. And they gave themselves a chance to observe. Like,
so the computer is already telling that there's a minimum.
Yes. So if they are taking 157 and the computer is saying 111, how come that we are taking 157? So that is what I'm saying. So they waited, they observed, they realized that this is how the imagination or this process should happen, so that in 127 moves they would be able to do.
Okay, that's difficult.
Yes.
But I'm talking about the 3 discs.
Yes.
When you're just doing it by hand,
Yeah.
could they argue that this would be, you can't do better than this?
Sir, with 3, actually my classes were 6 and 7. So I think this question would be more applicable if I'll start with standard 4. With 3, one group played and second realized where are they going wrong. Because with 3 it goes very fast. 1 shift, second shift, third shift, fourth shift, and so it goes very fast.
That's true. No.
Yeah.
But solution is fast, but finding out that it's the minimum, that
Yes.
requires reasoning and argument, right?
Yes.
So that's not easy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's even that early.
Yeah. So though I have not told them anything like that till now, they are still struggling. But I have finally a formula like 2n minus 1 will be the number of steps that will, come in the picture when you are going to. But I have not told them anything.
Yeah. No, I don't want you to do either.
Yes,
I am just
yes,
asking about the
exactly.
children reasoning.
Yes. So actually, basically nowadays, physical mode, I believe, there are some shortcomings. We require more number of physical mode. With every child, you need one. With online mode, it went on very fast. And then they went back home. They don't have to wait for the Tower of Brahma to come back to them. They also just Google search, got all that.
No, you can have coins, right? You
Yeah.
just stack coins and move. So you don't need physical.
Thank you so much. I will tell them this also to include. Just I have a doubt about it because when kids are basically excited, that patience of playing with the coin, I believe, is somewhere they have to look, because coin will keep on falling and they'll have to keep on arranging. It's only my view on that. So with the rod and the ring, it's very easy for them to put forward, backward to realize where am I going wrong and where am I going right about it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to call upon Mrs. Snehal R. Bhunkar from Dr. Kalmadi Shamarao High School, Ganesh Nagar, Pune.
One more. I need call. यहाँ पे ना थोड़ा बाहर करो. Running out of time, so whatever is she is going to do. Is it fixed? This is to be. ये हाथ में ले सकते हैं. No, I don't know to handle. I can handle it properly. Like this? That will be a stand, right? Excuse me. Yeah, it was not coming out.
But it's okay, you can hold it in the hand and use it.
Fine, no problem. No, it's okay, I'll do that. Am I audible? Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure and honor to present my abstract titled Watch, Touch and Learn Mystery of Division using Computational Thinking under the theme of CT in Mathematics. I am Snehal Bhunkar from Dr. Kalmadi Shamarao High School, Ganesh Nagar, Pune. In this presentation, I would like to take you briefly through the rationale behind choosing this activity, implementation of this activity using CT elements, students' response to it, and overall impact of their learning. To begin with, please have a look. Students in grade 5 were given the examples to solve based on the division. While solving the division operation, children used long division method. While observing the children performing in it, teacher noticed that children are facing certain difficulties. Children notice certain errors such as lack of understanding of place value. In some cases, children were choosing incorrect subtrahend. The most common error observed was children were forgetting to put 0 in the quotient. The another most common error was children were struggling to get a quotient if they understand that 0 is there in units or tens place. Now, all these examples and mistakes, they look very, very simple. But if they are unaddressed, they are overlooked by the students and sometimes by teachers as well. And if these errors and misconceptions are not addressed at the right time, it will lead to significant conceptual gap in children's learning. So this is the time when teacher realize that these errors and misconceptions needs to be addressed. So teacher decided to conduct a hands-on activity using computational thinking elements in which the division process cannot become just abstract, but it can be visible,
tangible process which can actually build a strong foundation for the future mathematics learning. To begin with, you have seen that in long division process, it is obviously observed that the process was looked like it is a repeated subtraction. But to initiate the discussion of activity, teacher has taken an advantage of sharing that division is not only repeated subtraction, but it is actually equal grouping or equal sharing as well. And this was the perfect opportunity for the teacher to exercise computational thinking element into the classroom to build a strong foundation for learning division operation. For this, teacher asked children to decompose the example 115 divided by 5 into manageable part. Now, here children have to understand that as we are observing division as equal grouping, we have to distribute 115 quantities into 5 equal groups. As the first step is decomposition, teacher asked children to decompose the number 115 into manageable part. Now, children took the advantage of their previous knowledge and used expanded notation to decompose the number. The number is decomposed, as you can see, 100 plus 10 plus 5. As this is hands-on activity, teacher wanted to give the visuals for the place values, and that is why teacher used color-coded coins to represent these place values such as hundreds, tens and 5 and units. This was the time when children had to show the 115 quantity in terms of coins which were color coded. And wonderfully, children have presented the number as 100, 1/10 and 5 units. Now, with the use of, next, enough. With this, now the next step is we have to share or we have to distribute all these place values in 5 equal groups. The challenge was we have to distribute this one coin which is representing 100. So we do not have numbers now. We just have a single coin which has to be distributed equally in 5 groups. Children had to think a lot. They said, no, we can't distribute. I asked, will you cut them and distribute? They said, no. They were thinking. Then they were given an example to reconnect with it. If I have 100 rupees with me and I have to share this with my 5 friends, of course not with Google Pay, what is the way to distribute this quantity equally? What will you ask for? Yes, exchange, exactly. This was the opportunity, This was the opportunity for the teacher to discuss with them about the exchange. In this activity, exchange helped children to handle the quantity which they cannot distribute into equal parts. And to add the fun in the element, teacher just called this as an exchange bank, where they can exchange hundreds into tens and tens into units. Now, let us revisit our example. Next. They said we cannot distribute hundreds into 5 equal parts. Now they have facility to exchange. Now teacher asked, how will you exchange this? With what place value you will exchange? So they obviously said the next lower place value. So they asked for 10 tens coin to me. That's why they have exchanged hundreds into smaller place value. And now teacher asked, can you now distribute these 10 tens into 5 equal groups? The students actually touched the coins and they have distributed these coins into 5 equal groups. Now teacher asked, finally, how many tens you are observing in one group? They have observed it and said that each group contained 2 tens. Now there comes, this was about splitting of 100 into equal groups. The next place value was tens. Teacher asked, can we follow this pattern? Did you observe? They said yes. Now, can we ask for exchange? They said yes. With what they are going to exchange? They said, we are going to exchange with the units place. In this way, children observed the pattern of exchanging and distribution and followed it for tens and units place. Finally, these remaining 15 units are equally distributed in 5 equal groups, and teacher asked them to combine these units together to see after after the end of this process how many quantities are there in each group. They observed that each group contained 2 tens and 3 units. Now, children were very eager. Teacher, what to do? How to connect it with the solution when we do it on a paper? This was time where a teacher actually solved the examples along with the children and showed each and every step which we do in the long division method is carefully connected and correspondent with what we have done using the concrete experiment. So here the bits became the number became the equation, and the process became easy for them. This was abstraction. Now teacher and student wanted, just 1 minute. Teacher wanted to iterate this to understand the effectiveness of the process, and teacher took the example where the quantity, the dividend, was not divisible perfectly. By following the pattern of activity, children found that there were few leftover bits which were actually giving the evidence of remainder. The next activity was done to overcome the errors of having zeros in the process, and with concrete experience, my math warriors were tackled it. Impact. Yeah. So in this process, my children actively touch the beads. They have seen the splitting of the numbers. They have watched how the exchange happens, and they have learned through the patterns. They have learned through iterations and computational thinking. Finally, they followed the algorithm. The final slide. So, for me, learning CT was a wonderful journey, and I can say learning CT is not just informative, but it is transformative too. Thank you so much.
Since we are running out of time, so the questions can be asked to her even during the lunch time. Yeah. So next presenter is Shreya Katagade from Dr. Kalmadi Shamarao High School, Ganesh Nagar, Pune.
You can use this one also. Ma'am, you don't want to use this one?
No, it's okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Shreya Katagade, a math science teacher from Dr. Kalmadi Shamarao High School, Ganesh Nagar, Pune. Today, I am here to present my abstract on understanding and formulating laws of exponents through CT under the theme CT in Math Education. Next. My presentation basically will focus on the following key aspects. This abstract explores how exponent laws can be made easy by using the logical pattern recognition and step-by-step method through CT. Before I begin with my topic and why I have chosen this, I would like to share an incident with you all. Just after Standard 10 Math Board exam, a student rushed to me, nervously asking, is the formula for simple interest is PRN multiplied by 100? I quickly corrected her. No, it's divide by 100. That was just a question, but it raised many in my mind. If she had understood why and how 100 comes in the denominator, that concept would have stayed with her. Keeping this in mind, I realized that for students how this is important to understand the formula and logic behind it, I thought to take exponent and laws of exponent by using the elements of computational thinking for a deeper understanding. Next.
the students had a basic idea about exponent, like a base, power, the relation between base and power, through various engaging activities, this new activity introduced to them for laws and its derivation of the exponents. In this activity, the students were divided into 4 small groups. In each of the group, 4 students were there. This activity included 3 tasks. In task 1, each group received the cards of multiplication sums based on the exponent. Whereas in task 2, students got a card of a division sum based on the division. In the next slide, we will look at how they have derived and presented their outcomes of decomposition method on the board, and from which how they have identified the pattern and came up with the generalized rule of the laws of exponents. We will look in the next slide. In task 1, group 1 has received a card of multiplication sum, which is 2 raised to 5 multiplied by 2 raised to 3. With the help of previous knowledge of relation between base and power, they have decomposed it. 2 raised to 5 is nothing but 5 times 2 and 2 raised to 3 is nothing but 3 times 2. Ultimately, they reached to a solution which is 2 raised to 8. When all 4 groups presented their outcome of decomposition on the board, they have understood, all the students in all 4 groups have understood that the pattern, which is base number everywhere, is repeating multiple times, and that corresponds to a sum of the power. Then this is the time to abstract this knowledge into a compact rule. Here I made them understand, though it is done with the decomposition method, which is very easy for them, why it is need to abstract it into a general rule. Because here the powers are 5 and 3 could be represented in the form of 5 times 2 and 3 times 2. But if it would have 2 raised to 64 and 2 raised to 32, how it could be decomposed? For that purpose, sometimes it is need to be generalized into a compact rule. Then they have arrived with the guided instructions. Students only have arrived at a rule which is when bases are same and power differs, that time it is nothing but the base with the sum of the powers. Next, in the task 2, group 2 had received a card of a division, that is 4 raised to 8 divided by 4 raised to 4. As this sum based on the division, they have decomposed it in the form of numerator and denominator. Ultimately, with the help of previous knowledge, they have reduced it and reached to a solution which is 4 raised to 4. Here also, after representation on the board of decomposition, all the students have understood now what is the pattern. That is when the bases, here also the base is repeating multiple times, which is nothing but the difference of the power. With a no guidance and no facilitation, students arrived at a general rule for the division of exponent. That is when bases are same and power differs, it is nothing but the base with the difference of the power. Now, generally, students more focus on the reciting or learning the formulas or by hearting the formulas. However, the need to vary this approach was more evident during the task 3. In task 3, next, this is how they have represented their outcomes on the board. Next. They have recorded what they have learnt and how they derived to a general rule in their notebook. Now, during task 3, each group received again the division sum based on exponent. Since they had derived the division rule for the exponent in the task 2, they applied it very confidently for the task 3 too. But this time, the solution is with a negative power. Each group struggled, confused how the power can be negative, how the base number can be multiplied negative number of times. Then this was a task for them to find the value, how the base to be multiplied itself with the negative number of times. Then here you can see how they have arrived at a answer. They tried their best, but all the time the answer were incorrect. For first group tried it, that they just ignored the negative sign of the power, multiplied, however they are doing it for the positive power, and kept the answer remain same. In the next group, what they did it, that is they shift the sign to one of the base, that is one is positive, one is negative, ultimately the answer is negative. Next. In this, he just ignored of the negative power and just multiplied regularly and came to answer. But one of the student from a group just came up with an idea. Instead applying directly the rule of exponent, can we try it with the decomposition method, teacher? That was done after a lot and the rigorous discussion. So next. All the group members agreed for the same. They tried with the decomposition method for their received sum, and they understood the pattern after presenting on the board that whenever the power is negative, the base is shifted to a denominator with the positive power. This is only the impact of my abstract, that they have changed their approach. Instead only relying on the learned formula, they tried to do it something with the alternative method. And why this was possible for them to thought on this? Because they understood the logic behind the formula. They have logically analyzed the problem, and here I feel like I just started to inculcate the habit of problem solving skill, and that is nothing but the impact or the objective. What I feel I achieved it in a very small group, but there are the possibilities can be achieved in the large group too, to make them understand the first they need to understand the logic behind the formula, and then it can be applied it wherever they want it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Any question? One question we can accommodate.
Yes.
So, just one small thing. So, which standard students were from?
These are from 7th standard students, sir. Introduced.
Okay. So, they were able to guess the formula but not derive, because for derivation they need principle of mathematical induction.
Correct, sir. But a previous basic knowledge of algebra and the simple equations, they had what is variable, what is power. The exponent also, first time though it is introduced, it was introduced with the rigorous activities, that is what is base, what is power, what is the power of the power is. So it was explained to them, and then after for the laws to explain, I thought they should come up with the idea what it can be in the form of generalized rule.
But like they don't have any concrete proof, right? Mathematical proof.
No, but
Yeah,
yes.
Students are
Yes,
small.
very small, yes.
Thank you so much. Would like to call all the presenters here. Ms. Seema Sunil. Sangeeta Sawarkar. Maggie. Matilda. Chitra.
And they're here.
सारांश, where is सारांश? फोटो ले लो, take picture. भावना.
Sneha. Shreya. at Azim Premji University, we do have a Triangles magazine. This is for mathematics, primary mathematics education. So it would be great if you can look at the magazine and read through it. And there is also a issue on computational thinking, so you can look at it and you can subscribe. All these are free only. So yeah. Yeah, we'll share it in group. Thank you so much. We'll break for lunch now.